Hey, what's up, everyone? Um, a question I get a lot over the last few years, and this is a very long overdue video to respond to this repeated question, is how do you do no contact, or how do you get through a breakup when you work with that person, when they live next door to you, when you might be living with them still, when that person is uh, the father or the mother of your child, okay? So things like that. Basically, how do you get through a difficult breakup when you have to communicate with this person, have to interact with them either through work or because of your children or, your next door neighbors and you're going to see them. So the answer to this is it's going to be much more difficult for you than for someone else who is able to do the no contact and no information. Remember what the purpose of no contact and no information is. It's like a cast that's going on a broken arm. Because when you go through a breakup, it's like you've been punched in the gut. It's so not only painful, but literally your body shuts down. You go through a lot of different feelings. One of them is that huge absence, that huge loss. It's like something's been ripped out of you, and in many ways, mentally, it has. I often refer to it like kind of like your GPS, where you've got a goal, you've got an objective, a place where you're gonna go, and it's mapped it out for you, and then suddenly you've missed your exit or something, and then it has to recalculate. Yeah, and it says recalculating your route. So when we go through that huge life change, basically our mind, it's going to take sometimes weeks, months to process what's just happened and then recalculate a new future. And that's your job. Your job is to start imagining every day, daily, imagining, visioning, fantasizing, whatever it is, just forcing yourself through journaling to envision a new future without that person, a better future, an even better version of where you're going. Now, it's going to be harder if you're going to be getting information about that person, finding out things about them. Why? Like I said, no contact is not about trying to get your ex back. That's not what it's about. No contact is really about no information. It's about not getting any info about their lives, which is why most people who suffer and struggle are suffering because they are going on their ex's Instagram, they're checking their social media, even little things like, I have a lot of clients that don't check the Instagram, don't check the Facebook, don't do all of that, but then they'll be looking at like a WhatsApp picture and they'll see that, oh, well, my ex has changed the WhatsApp picture. What does it mean? And you can communicate very subtly now these days through lots of different ways. Indirect communication, right? So at the end of the day, that's all information. And you want to avoid all of that, not forever. It's just like you've broken your arm, you've taken this huge hit, this massive thing's been ripped out, and it needs to heal. And as it heals, then you want to start, like I said, envisioning a better new future for yourself without this person. But in order for it to heal, you've got to stop hitting that broken arm. You've got to stop knocking it around. And that's why doctors put a cast on there. It's protection. So the purpose of no contact is to protect you, because you're in a very delicate, fragile, emotional state. You're not behaving as yourself. You are not being you. And you're not going to be you for a while. You're going to be in an emotional storm, an emotional wreck. And you need to just protect yourself in that time so that you can heal up and get stronger. So for those of you who aren't able to do full no contact, and you're going to be bumping into your ex left, right, and center, or you have to communicate with them for whatever reason, your job is going to be more difficult, but there is a benefit. There is an advantage that you will have over those who can do pure no contact. And your advantage is that you're going to be forced to heal much quicker. Okay? Because doing no contact and all of that, yes, it protects the arm, right? But what happens when your arm's in a cast for a few months? What happens to it? When they take the cast off, your arm normally shrinks because those muscles aren't being used. Your arm becomes really thin, I don't know if anyone out there has ever broken their arm. I have, and it becomes really thin and skinny. And in a similar way, if you're doing the no contact and no information purely, yes, you're allowing the healing to happen, which is important, but you're still going to be fragile. And then once the cast is removed, in other words, after 6 months or a year, however long you need to do that no contact to gain that strength, basic foundational strength back, then it's important for you to start facing things again, being able to become strong again so that you're not going to be avoiding your ex for eternity, because that's not good too. You're going to need to go into the same restaurants or being able to go to the same town. Or I remember personally for me, I would see the car that my ex would drive, and that would make me think of her and have, and this is common with a lot of people I work with, they'll see things or see certain things, see couples kissing and all this. So all of that you're going to have to eventually become okay with, and you will, but you first want to heal that broken bone, right? Now, if you're not able to do pure no contact and all of that, well, you're basically going to have to heal the bone, but you're also going to be keeping your muscles strong at the same time. So your progress, for a lot of people that I have worked with that have to face their ex, they actually can wind up healing much faster because they just have to face the reality much quicker. They don't have the luxury of doing pure, strict no contact. Okay? Now, so here's how it's going to be. If you work with your ex, if you're going through a divorce and you have children, you have to communicate. If you live next door to them, the word that you're going to have to drill into your mind is you're going to have to be professional. And this comes from my own experience as well. I went through a breakup once with someone who I worked with, and I had to see her every day. She was actually in the same department as me. And the same person lived literally 2 doors down. So I learned a lot from that. You're going to have to be professional. You're going to have to, if you work with the same person, you're going to have to be super professional. And you can be firm. If that person gets out of line and starts crossing the lines, they have to be professional too. And if they're not being professional, you're going to have to firmly just let them know. You're there to work. You're not there to socialize. You're there to go in and out and do your job and get paid, go home, and do your best. If you live next door to this person, same sort of thing. There might be times where you're going to bump into them. But regardless of what's going on, you've got to do your best to limit your interactions with that person. So if you're going through a divorce or if you have children, limit the interactions so that it's only about the kids. Keep it all business. Keep it all professional. Okay? That's critical. Otherwise, you're going to wind up, I don't need to explain what's going to happen. You're going to wind up arguing, dragging each other down, fighting. Everything's just going to become prolonged, right? Now look, if you can leave your job, if you can move to a different place so that you're not next door neighbors, if you can do things like that, if you have the money and the ability to leave and go to a different city, go to a different town. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. In fact, I think that's great. It's a great thing if you can do that. You know, if you're more able and more capable to change your environment, at the end of the day, we're not trees. You know, we're amazing. We're so blessed. We have legs, we have arms, we have a brain. We're not rooted into the ground like a tree where it's stuck there in its environment. No, we're able to move. Our roots as a species are nomadic, tribal. You know, we travel around. So don't be closed to that. I'm not saying that you have to leave town or leave your work and all of that. Yes, of course, for a lot of people that's going to be impossible. It's going to be very difficult. And it's not going to be reasonable. But if you are able to do so, don't close that option out. I can tell you personally, I would absolutely entertain that, because my personal health, my mental health, my physical health, it comes first, not in a selfish way. Because if I'm energized, if I feel good physically, mentally, and I feel happier and more, you know, less stressed and less down, I'm going to help my relationships. I'm going to help my family. I'm going to help the people around me. Okay? There's a couple of lines I love from a couple of movies. One is from Lawrence of Arabia. Omar Sharif's character, he's a tribal leader, and he stands on top of a mountain, and he looks down at his tribe, and he says, "I'm a river for my people." And I love that, because it encapsulates the essence of what self-love is all about. It's keeping yourself a full river, healthy river, where the water is clean and nourishing and full, so that you can water everyone around you, so that you will be a spring for everything and everyone around you, your pets, your friends, just your environment. So just keep that in mind, that the whole point of no contact, no information is to protect you so that you can stay strong, so you can be as healthy and energized as possible, so that you can be a source of energy for those who you love, for those around you. Okay, so just in short, there's no like magic pill or magic button that you can press. It's going to be more difficult for you if you are in any of those situations that I described earlier. You're going to have to switch on a lot more than someone else who can do no contact, lives in another town and all of that. You're going to have to take this a lot more seriously, and that means being more professional at work, you know, in all situations that I described. Okay, but everything else applies as well to you. You've got to do as much no contact as you can, so it's going to be limited contact for you. So you've got to keep it super limited. Don't talk about anything other than the essentials, like for work or regarding your kids. Okay, so do not talk about anything else. No other interactions needed. The more you can enforce this, the quicker and better it's going to be for you. So limited contact is going to be important. Again, you don't want to be going on social media, because whatever you see, as I always say, even if it's just their dinner, that's going to spark off hundreds of thoughts in your head. Why are they at that restaurant? They've never been there before. I never went to that restaurant with them. Why are there 2 glasses of wine there? Who's the other person with them? You know, is it a guy? Is she happy now? Is he happy now? It's literally hundreds of thoughts that you're going to be seeding in your head. And are those thoughts serving? Are they helping you? No, they're not. They're just making you suffer and killing more of your time, adding at least another week of healing to the whole thing. Usually what I find is when my clients call and they need sessions, or they're suffering, it's always because they've looked at their ex's Instagram, or looked at found out some new information about them. And then I remind them, hey, did you do this? Did you do that? And they're like, yes, damn it, that's why. I can tell you that it's usually you're going to feel really shit for about 2 or 3 days, and then it's going to wear off after a week. But just understanding that the cause for it is really important, because when you understand like why you're suffering, then you can write a note to your future self. And I have a lot of my the people I work with now, I have them do this a lot, which is write a note when you are in that really terrible state, when you're really suffering, write a note to your future self. This works really well with people who are suffering addictions too, like porn or anything, where you've just scratched that itch, looked at their profile or watched some porn, and then you feel like shit. That horrible feeling. When you're in that horrible state, there's a huge opportunity there for you. Write a note to your future self and put it somewhere in front of you. Put it on your computer, put it on a wall, put it in your kitchen, put it in your bathroom, and write a note that says something along the lines of describing how horrible you feel. Tell yourself it's not worth it. Don't do it. This feels terrible. I feel terrible right now. Don't do it. It's not worth it. Okay? And write that to your future self. And yes, it might take you a couple of times to finally believe your notes and be like, you know what, my notes are telling me the truth, and I'm going to remember it this time. Because we forget, right? We forget the pain, we feel better, and we're like, oh, I feel better. I'm going to just do this now. Okay? So write those notes to yourself, not only in the worst times, but write notes to yourself also when you feel amazing, when you feel great. Write a note and say, I feel incredible right now, and it's because I've been doing this and that, whatever it is. And write that note to your future self. Because what tends to happen with us is we forget very easily. We forget that, last week I actually felt pretty good. We forget how terrible we feel. We forget everything. And forgetting is a gift we actually have, I'm not going to go into why. But we're blessed to be able to kind of reset every day and see things almost like with new eyes. All right, so I'll make more videos on this. For now, I just wanted to get this one out there really quickly because I get emails on this all the time. And I hope it helps. Yes, basically you're going to have to work a lot harder. If this video applies to you, you're going to have to wake up, switch on. You're going to have to take this a lot more seriously. You're going to have to work harder than everyone else. But, as I said at the beginning of the video, you do have an advantage over a lot of other people in that because you're being thrown into the deep end of the swimming pool, well, you're going to learn how to swim much faster. Alright, so I'm sending everybody out there all the very best. I know how hard these situations are. I've been there myself. They're really difficult, but you will get through it if you do the right things. You're going to get through it anyway. It's just a matter of time. It's like, how long are you going to spend? Okay? And in what shape are you going to be at the end of it? The thing about this is that you can actually come out of this much better and stronger than you were before. And the chances are, no matter what, you are going to come out of this better than you were before. But if you can apply all these things, and it's not just my channel, there are plenty of books and channels out there that are offering excellent guidance. If you can just apply that guidance and not do what the majority of people do, which is mask their pain, jump into rebound dating, serial dating, or jump into alcohol and all of this stuff, that's just masking it, that's just burying it, that's just suppressing it, right? You don't want to do that. Face the pain. You don't have to face it completely all at once. You can pace yourself, right? Phase it all out, fade it out, All right? But face it and process it and learn to engage with it. It's a part of life. All right? And sending everybody out there all the very best, and adios for now.